who is also running for the same office, Legislative District 16.
Hi, my name is Andrew Wiley. I grew up in Pearl River. I graduated Pearl River High School in '91. Just to give you a little bit of background information. I've studied valuation analysis. I'm also studying political science. One of the reasons I'm running is, quite frankly, the financial issues are a tremendous strain on the residents in this town and this county. If you look at what I've done as a person without being representative, an elected official, in the town of Orangetown, I did a referendum on the town pool. Now, our town board wanted to basically $25 million approximately they wanted to spend on a town pool without putting it to a vote. At that time, I knew there was a sewer issue, and it was about $25 million. It's turned out it's $55 million plus right now. The town of Orangetown has over $77 million in debt. So on a town-wide basis, these are some of the things that I did. I also did a referendum on the ball fields. I took a lot of heat for that. I didn't fall behind. I said to myself, fundamentally, this should be voted on. $7.5 million. Just so happens they picked a piece of property. It was the most expensive piece of property out of the property we bought from Rockland Psychiatric Center to do these fields. $7.5 million for soccer fields with lights and turf, and granted some of this was donated from the residents or the organization. Throughout the entire process, I said, you need to be fair. If you're going to do this, everyone should have a say in it. The field should be used for everyone. What happened? An exclusive deal was struck with South Orangetown, with two organizations, South Orangetown Little League and Orangetown Mighty Midgets. Again, I spoke out on that, took a lot of heat for that. Orangetown Mighty Midgets has about 3,000 players, supposedly, throughout the town. When I ended up talking to them and said, look, I'm not opposed to kids playing sports. I've coached kids, I've gotten involved with it, I've played sports. I don't begrudge kids from having the ability to play sports. But I also don't begrudge the taxpayers the right to vote on what some people could classify as non-essential expenditures.
Assistance needed in children's room, assistance needed in children's room.
So those are some of the issues. In addition to that, I started a situation where the town board of Orangetown voted themselves from part-time to full-time, and then voted themselves retroactive pensions for 10 years. I started the lawsuit on that. I had the state controller investigate that. As it turns out, they increased their pension credit from 0.4 to 0.7. They should never have done that, in my opinion. But they did, because that's what happens in the course of good government, from their point of view. So these are some of the things that I've fought for and have been involved with. Today I'm running for county legislator because the county legislator, there's 17 of them. This budget's over $650 million. How do you go 50 million, maybe 80 million in the hole on operation in 1 year? How do you bond $8 million for pension contributions, spread it out over 5 years? This is the ticking time bomb. You're talking about nation at risk, we have a county at risk. And if we don't do something about it, we're going to have a problem. As it stands now, out of the 17 legislators, I think there's only 5 that have real challenges, and I would consider my race a real challenge. I also have an independent line, which I collected signatures for. I went for the conservative line, an independence line, and an opportunity ballot. I am not one that the party bosses care for, because the party bosses want to run roughshod, and they want to work their deals on both sides, the Democrats and Republicans. And you have the conservatives involved in that also. So basically, we're up against this. Everyone here that's come here, you have a real big task ahead of you, both in Clarkstown and Orangetown, for that matter, in the entire county, to try to neutralize this. I'm for term limits. Ed Day from Clarkstown proposed term limits, and unfortunately, in that situation, it was killed in committee, actually by my opponent, John Murphy. He did not allow that to get out of committee. As it works, it goes through committees. He's on the Budget and Finance Committees, on other committees. He brings up Venture. It's a great organization he's involved with, but on many occasions I've been at county legislative meetings, and I said to him, listen, you're on the board, you need to recuse yourself from these from these votes. If you don't recuse yourself, I guess that's for you to deal with. And I wasn't accusing him of any improprieties. I'm just saying that there's monies there that you're expending. There are other contract agencies. I bet most people don't understand. There's Venture, ARC, and Gewanio, and there are other organizations, but just those three organizations, the last time I checked, was $100 million for those three organizations. And I would bet that the number of clients that they service is south of a couple of thousand, probably south of 1,000. So $100 million. And they're kind of top-heavy in their structure as far as administration costs. So you have three organizations doing the same thing. When Venture was formed, Gewanio and ARC, I believe, were already in place, and they were already doing a good job. At some point, Venture came on board, and now you have three different organizations dealing with that. I've been labeled all types of things, called all types of things. Things I'm sure people in this room have probably dealt with yourself. If you said you're involved with the Tea Party, people will have their few choice words to say about it. I believe in what the Tea Party stands for. I believe in individual rights, and that we should protect those, and we should really talk to people and not, talk about what's going on, but really listen. In this time frame, in the last 4 or 5 months, I've knocked on thousands of doors. I've done that before, because I ran for town council twice in Orangetown twice before. And I can tell you, I'm hearing what's going on out there for people, and it's challenging. And a lot of people are at the point where they're actually saying, I don't know, why should I even bother to vote? Why should I even bother to sign? I can tell you this, your vote matters, your voice matters, you matter. It's our elected officials who don't get that. And not all of them, but they just don't get it. And I think that, given an opportunity, and everyone in here predominantly is from Clarkstown, but I've talked to some people. If you have friends or family in Orangetown, if you could please spread the word about my race, and if you could say some good words about me now that you've heard a little bit about what I've had to say. My district encompasses, I'm sorry, I'll answer, I'm going to say what the district encompasses: Pearl River, Tapan, part of Lowell, part of Palisades, and Orangeburg, and a little small part of West Nile. So if there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
As a county legislator, how involved do you think the county legislation should become in our lives, such as banning artificial trans fats, forcing us that you can't smoke in your car if you have someone under 18?
Well, it's a good question. The issue is, unfortunately, the legislator doesn't want to deal with the real hard questions. They'd rather do legislation like that that creates additional costs and burdens for businesses and for residents. I believe people are informed enough. If you can figure out pretty much what it is. I don't think we need, mind control or thought control of a county legislators telling us, okay, this is what is in the food. I mean, we all should know that at some point in our lives, and I believe that, yes, there's some actions that need to be taken, and there are some that need priority. Like, one of the actions is 11 out of the 13 unions for Rockland County, they pay zero in their medical from day one. Most people don't know this, but if you work for the county government for 5 years, and you retire at age of 55, so if I'm 50, I get a job working for the county, I retire at 55, I get a health insurance for the rest of my life, vested. Rockland County is self-insured. You're talking about incredible changes in savings. Those are some of the areas where you can see some incredible savings. Now, a lot of the issues are contractually negotiated, so obviously you're going to have to work with the unions, but you need to have a sustainable system in place. Currently, as it is now, 1% increase is a substantial increase in anything, because you have steps, and then you have negotiated contract increases. The pension system for New York State has just come down and made a determination that it's going to probably be close to double-digit increase because the stock market's not performing. So every time the stock market doesn't perform, which is usually when we have the least amount of resources available, we get hit with the big one. As it stands right now, they haven't told you, if they do not cut expenses on the county portion, and you can dress it any way you want to dress it, saying it's the smallest part of your tax bill, they're looking at a potential raise of 30% on your county portion of your tax bill. As it stands right now, I think it's going to be very difficult because this is many years of the same thing. So, people always say, and I find it funny, when you run for office, people say, well, what can you do? I said, well, they boxed us into this situation. What can we do? Us, together. Because it's not going to be just me, because you know what, I could be the one legislator up there, but unless the group of people like you've done in Clarkstown come over and just basically let them know there's a lot of people who care about this issue, we need to do something about it, they're not going to do it. I can tell you, quite frankly, they'll isolate you, whether you're on a town board or county legislator. Just because I get elected doesn't mean it's over. You still need to be involved. And so I'm hoping that's what happens. Any other questions? Thank you very much.